Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? I hope you are all doing well. Welcome to Reganelite's Viewpoint. We'll be looking at news specifically in the UK. We got quite a variety to talk about today, including one or two videos I want to respond to as well. Good to see a few of you here tonight. Weebud, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Jao, good to see you there. One of the fabulous moderators. Do check out his YouTube channel if you get a chance to as well. And Scott Hayes there is also in the chat there as well. Good to see you too. Hope you are doing well, all of you guys. Hope you all had a good weekend as well. So we've got quite a lot of topics to go through and discuss. So I want to start first. I've got quite a few on Reform UK, guys. And I want to just start with the headline before I go to the video here, here with you guys. Oh, just 1 second. I didn't realise I didn't refresh my water, so I need to be careful. This is the only water I've got for the live stream. My other one is empty, which is not good. Always have plenty of water. That's one thing you should always have. So here's the headline, guys. So Reform UK is abandoning its manifesto pledges of £90 billion in tax cuts, the Deputy Leader admits. So Richard Tice City's party will concentrate on cutting its civil service and scrapping net zero once in government. So let's hear from the... rather than read some of this, let's actually just go straight to the horse's mouth on this here with some of the reasoning behind this, guys. So he was speaking to Times Radio on the subject here. So let's have a listen and see what his excuses are here. So he says in this clip here from the Times Radio, we cannot do any of this given the state of our finances until we deliver on our savings. Reform Deputy Leader Richard Tice tells Times Radio the party has had to change the big tax cut promises in the manifesto. Essentially, shifting the goalpost really is what he's essentially saying here, guys.
But what I want to focus on is what you're promising, because you promised in that manifesto that these reforms would happen in the first 100 days, and these are hugely attractive to lots of people. I just want to go through, there are 5 of them which are key economic pledges to people, to sort of everyday people, and I want to find out whether these still stand. To lift the income tax start point to £20,000 a year within the first 100 days, is that still the plan?
As an aspiration, that is absolutely the plan, the principle behind it. But we cannot do any of this, given the state of the finances, until we deliver on the savings and prove
so that's everything.
So here's the point. You had this with Labour, where they made pledges, and then they started to roll back on some of the pledges. This is. I know it's not exactly the same with Labour, but you had them rolling back some of the policies when they realised, oh, we can't actually keep to these, even though we put them in our manifestos. Oh, we can bend it a little bit. This is the exact same concept here. Just bending it and saying, technically we're not rolling back on it. We're kind of tweaking it a little bit here and there, sort of thing. This is exactly what Reform UK are doing here. See, they made pledges in their contract, to the British public, and now they're saying, oh, because of the state of the economy, we can't actually commit to these. Well, here's a newsflash for you. Maybe you shouldn't make commitments that you can't keep. You shouldn't be putting in your so-called contract that you made when the election came around. So this is really important for people to understand that the Liberal Democrats, when they had their, remember back in 2010, they had pledges as well in the 2010 election. Then they got into bed with the Tories, and then they turned their back completely on a lot of their pledges, which angered a lot of voters, rightfully so. Like, you can't just say one thing and put something in a manifesto and then turn around and say, oh no, we can't do that. This is their way of getting out of, this is them trying to say, oh, because of the finances, because of the climate right now, the economic climate, we can't commit to these guys. We can't commit to them. And the problem is, a lot of Reform voters just don't pay attention to any of this at all. They don't pay attention to any of this, which is embarrassing.
Everything, but that is an aspiration.
So that's not in the first 100 days. So the next one was lower.
So he's just, you can see he's nodding his head saying, nope, that's not going to be able to keep that.
fuel duty by 20 pence per litre for both residential and business users, scrap VAT on energy bills and scrap environmental levies within the first 100 days. Is that still the plan?
Well, the element of the environmental levies, for example, scrapping net zero, that is absolutely the plan. So that's a part of that. And that will save billions of pounds. The OBR have now agreed with me.
But not the fuel duty. The fuel duty by 20 pence per litre?
All the other details go because we're in a different time. We're focusing on the savings.
So here he's moving. So essentially, he's moving the goalpost.
Deliver on the savings, deliver on the regulation cuts, the way we change the way that you run and manage this economy. Then you can get what I call performance-related tax cuts further down the road, only when you've delivered on the savings.
Okay, but as you're finding out in local government, you are, as you say, making savings, and yet those savings are nowhere near enough to deal with the scale of the problem. How can you guarantee that any of these things would ever happen under a reform government? Because exactly the same thing may well happen in government as it is in local government.
And I'm very glad she asked this question. We know we're not going to get a straightforward answer from Richard Tice anyway. But when you think about, like, ever since Reform got control of local council in Kent, they've tried to implement, like, their own Doge. Yeah, they've tried to implement their own Doge that they could try and cut and find savings, like, do a lot of tax cutting, basically. And essentially they found out that there was nothing they could cut because the council was already cut to the bone, thanks to, I don't know, the Tories' austerity. So in order for them to do some of the things that they need to do, there's the plan is, the rumour and innuendo, is that they're planning council tax rises, which goes completely against, obviously, the whole big tax cuts sort of thing that they were talking about as well. So,
Because we will change the obligations that are set down by the government, because we will completely, boldly change the way that the government functions, the way...
This is just words. This is just word salad. There's no context to this. It's just word salad. If you listen to what he says, it's just giving word salad. He's not actually providing context yet to it.
The civil service functions.
So what do you mean by that? The government would stop doing things that it does at the moment. Is that right?
There are a whole range of things, frankly, that the government does at the moment.
Can you give us some examples, Richard? Can you give us examples of where money is being wasted by the government? Can you provide us with some examples? You know, it would be great. You know, it's all great saying these things, but if you could provide us with some examples, that'd be greatly appreciated instead of just, you know, offering word salad once again.
The regulations provide that are a hindrance to productivity, a hindrance to growth.
Like what? Could you give us one example?
Yeah, I'll give you a simple example. What help is GDPR? It's a nightmare. It's an unproductive nightmare that damages, in particular, healthcare, right? So, and I've seen that in my own constituency. So there's a whole range of stuff that goes.
I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say I'm not gonna buy what he said there, but you can take it for his value on that. Metakind on Twitch. I'm very good, thank you. And hello, Pete's Music, Stephen Banker, good to see you there. And anybody else looking in the chat, if I haven't said hello to you, hope you guys are doing well.
Goes across the whole economy. There are many things in the house building industry, for example, that are a major block on development. Unnecessary surveys that hinder development.
Unnecessary surveys.
And increase costs.
Okay.
So
is a one-off.
We're going to radically relook at everything.
Yeah, without providing any context whatsoever. Again, like housing surveys. So you do realise it's really important when it comes to housing that they need to make sure that everything is in order before they build the homes. You know, that might be something you might want to know about, Richard, but obviously he's not very well in that. So yeah, can't really take anything he says. Yeah. So he's admitting his party cannot deliver the £90 billion in tax cuts promises in his manifesto, saying he would concentrate on public spending once in government. Richard Tice says key election pledges such as lifting the income tax threshold would be an aspiration, and then once in government reform would concentrate on cutting service and scrapping net zero. He's said to be planning a speech next month to overhaul the party's economic policy, which Labour and the Conservatives see as key weaknesses. The Times reported that Farage would promise to reduce spending before reducing taxes. Farage has previously said he expects to make £350 billion worth of spending cuts over the course of the Parliament, the equivalent of axing the whole school budget every year or wiping out a third of the NHS funding annually. Like, see, they're throwing these numbers out here without any context or anything. Like, and the problem is that people who don't pay attention to politics, there will be people out there who will be stupid enough to actually believe this stuff. But what people need to understand as well is that what Reform want to do is impose austerity, but it's basically times 5, basically. Like what we had during the Conservatives is basically going to be even here. He said he would find the savings via cuts to net zero, migrant hotels, and diversity initiatives, but added that target figures also widely expected to be revised. So first of all, the net zero, this is absolute bollocks. And I've discussed this already. We've discussed this already. Net zero in the long term will reduce people's energy bills. If we have installation in our homes, if we have solar panels on our roofs, if we have more wind farms, yes, it can't completely subsidize the entire electricity, but it can certainly reduce our reliance on overseas electricity on our grid, and it can go a long way. And obviously that's while also we're seeing the building of nuclear power stations as well, which will also help make our electricity more self-sustaining, and thus not having to rely on the global economy when it comes to gas and oil. That is something we need to move away. So I don't know where Richard Tice is getting his magical numbers out. And by the way, I don't know how many people saw the video that Max did on Richard Tice and his video on Lincolnshire, but in terms of their oil industry, it's not even. This might shock a few people. I actually looked it up, but it's not even in the top 10 of the most beneficial to Lincolnshire's local economy. Like, it's not even in the top 10. Like, they make about like 2.2 billion, I think, as they make something about that to their local economy. Roughly is what I've looked up. But in comparison to some of the other economies within Lincolnshire, it's nothing. It's pennies in comparison, and there's not even that many, and it's not high in terms of jobs there as well. But those jobs obviously are still valuable, just as a point of order there. Why do British government want to control our internet freedom? Says Metakind. I can't answer that question because I'm not in the government. A manifesto is based on point-in-time Tice Time Ranger. The principle behind it is absolutely rock solid. We've got to make every significant saving in order to find a different way to run the economy. No. You can't. You have to stick. Like, here's the thing, right? Every now, like, there will be some things you can tweak, but we're talking about there's a lot of things that they had in there that they're already moving the goalpost on, and it just seems incredibly suspicious, like, to me here. Policies of the manifesto including raising the inheritance tax threshold to 2 million, lifting the income tax, personal tax to 20,000, and the higher income rate to 70,000, reducing corporation tax to 15%, also including tax relief on private school fees and cuts to fuel duty. Yeah, nothing for state schools there, guys. Nothing for state schools. Nothing for state schools. As an aspiration, that's absolutely the plan behind it. Blah 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 blah. Blah. Ty said changes to regulations will make cost cutting easier, saying it would not run up against the same issues nationally. Okay, sure. We will change the obligations set down by the government because we will completely boldly change the way the government functions. That's the way civil service functions. How? Again, no details. Like, just, again, word salad. A Labour spokesperson said reforms economic plans were built on sand. Yep, absolutely. It's built on sand. Yep. Couldn't agree more. Institute for Physical Studies previously said the sums of Reform UK's 2030 maths was implausible, regardless of pros and cons of shrinking the state of any of its specific measures. The package as a whole was problematic. It said spending reductions would save less than stated, and the tax cuts would cost more than stated by the margin of tens of billions of pounds a year. Shadow Chancellor Mel Stry said the plans were all over the place, and Reform stood on a platform last year of huge unfunded commitments that would have wrecked the public finances. They cannot be trusted to run the economy. This is true. People can talk all they want about immigration, but when it comes to the economy, they don't have a plan for economy. It's Corbynism in different colour. It's not Corbynism in different colour. Okay, Mel Stry's talking out of his arse there, on that. But yeah, Richard Tice talking a lot out of his high horse with regards to that there. What
I want to focus on is what you're...
hold on, I need to refresh this a second. Here. Hello, One Angry Pagan. And Simon says 55. Good to see you there. Had a good holiday. I did, thank you. With the exception of flying to and from my destination, it was very good, thank you. And for those who are wondering, for those who were there this morning, no, Facebook still have not responded. I still kept my Facebook accounts, all of them still currently suspended. Still waiting for a response from them. I don't know. They said it would take over a day, and it's been nearly 2 days. So I don't know what's going on. It's completely out of my hands. which is very frustrating. Anyways, let's move on, guys. You need to have empathy. Even empathy is not something that's found in Reform UK. That's pretty difficult. Reform has no plans except borrow more money, and in the end, is what the Tories began: bankrupt the state. Yeah, they just want to enrich their friends and donors. That's all it's about, and taking the money away from ordinary people. Like they don't care about the poor and the middle income. They're gonna make everyone look. They're gonna make everyone poorer. They're gonna make the UK as a whole poorer. Every single nation will be poorer under a Reform government. Now, I want to cover this specific topic because this was brought up, and I didn't really find a news topic of regards to this on Good Morning Show. So, Nigel Farage condemns Keir Starmer after street attack on Reform Council leader. Warwickshire County leader George Flynch said he was assaulted by a young man who told him he was racist and a fascist. Now, I want to just play this. Hopefully, it should play here. Hopefully, they won't pull adverts here. But I just want to remind you of the language that Keir Starmer used at the speech here.
You say or imply that people cannot be English or British because of the colour of their skin, that mixed heritage families owe you an explanation, that people who've lived here for generations, raised their children here, built their lives here, working in our schools, our hospitals, running businesses, are our neighbours. If you say they should now be deported, then mark my words, we will fight you with everything we have, because you are the enemy of national renewal. So,
I don't know if the Independent are specifically talking about these ones, but that does not sound like, to me, like when your political party is threatening innocent people, legal migrants here, there's going to be a lot of anger. There's going to be a lot of rage. Now, obviously, it's very, very... I want to make it very, very clear. I don't know the full story of this from George Flynch, and I know he's a young man. He's an absolute dumbass. We know that because we talked about him in the past. He's the 19-year-old kid who's the leader, Warwickshire Council leader, guys. Yeah, like this guy. So, and the thing is, I've tried to find video footage or anything of this stuff, and I can't find anything. So it's literally his word to mouth on this. But we mustn't let our anger and our hatred turn into violence, even if we vehemently disagree with Reform UK, with the Conservatives on their political policies or their ideology. We can't let that turn into anger, which will lead to doing things like this. Whoever did this allegedly, and I'm going to say allegedly because there's no evidence of this yet, whoever assaulted George Flynch in any way, shape or form, it's wrong to do so. Shouting at politicians and just calling them fascists and racist and whatnot it's not going to change their minds. It's not going to win over heart and minds. It's not going to make anything any better, guys. It's not going to solve literally anything. All you're doing is just adding fuel to the fire to the racists and bigots out there. So let me read a bit more into this as I go along. So Keir Starmer has been condemned for his disgraceful rhetoric aimed at Reform UK after a party council leader in Warwickshire was reportedly attacked in the streets. So George Flynch, Britain's youngest council leader, said he was called a racist and fascist by a man who allegedly assaulted him at Nuttington Town Centre on Friday evening. So this is what he said, alleging this, okay? The 19-year-old who suffered no lasting injuries from the incident told the Daily Mail that the alleged attacker was wound up and sent into battle by the dangerous rhetoric of Labour and the Greens. Again, there's no evidence whatsoever to this alleged... There's no evidence to this whatsoever. And he's basically trying to pin this as a case of... And this is what the right will do. An incident, even if it is an incident, which I don't... For all we know, he could have made this up. I don't know if he has or not, though you have to take any allegations that are made by politicians seriously. But where is the link between this and Labour and the Greens in comparison to the language and the rhetoric that's been used by Reform UK, used by the Conservatives, and even extent in the past by Labour as well? And this is coming from the Daily Mail as well. The incident at which Warwickshire police are investigating comes days after Reform leader Nigel Farage accused Keir Starmer of inciting violence against him during his speech at the Labour Kai conference. During his speech to delegates, Keir said the policies of Mr Farage and Reform was racist, and that anyone who argued that people who had lived here for generations should now be deported as an enemy of national renewal. Yes, and I agree. I agree that if you have a problem with people who have lived here for generations and should now be deported, which is exactly the kind of language that Reform UK has done, yeah, you are the enemy to the British public to a certain extent, because you want to kick people out who have been born here, been raised here, who have contributed to the UK, who are literally British citizens, and you want to kick them out based on their heritage, or because of the colour of their skin, or because of their religious beliefs, or because they have history, a family history that extends outside of the UK. Yeah, that's where the line, that's definitely something that I think is just outrageous. Earlier this month, a newly elected leader, Zach Plansky, also criticised Mr Farage's party, saying his politics were dangerous and deceitful, and they are. Again, I don't think anyone should argue with that. Following the alleged assault on Mr Flinch, Mr Farage told the Daily Mail, deeply upset with our young council was assaulted. Oh my days. The words against him echoed the Prime Minister's disgraceful attack. Wholly irresponsible comments from the leader of the Green Party. This is coming from Nigel Farage, by the way. Labour spokesperson said, violence, harassment, intimidation is completely unacceptable. There's no place in our politics and society. Any such incident must be thoroughly investigated, and the perpetrators must be brought to justice. The Green Party spokesperson said there is no place for violence or intimidation in politics, and using the disgraceful attack of a councillor to score cheap points is distasteful. The Green Party is committed to offering a message of hope to counter those looking to fuel division and hatred, and we will work to bring communities together and provide them with the investment they need to thrive. Mr Finch has been subject to national attention since his appointment after the local elections earlier this year, probably because he's done a fucking shit job. He said he has been with a female friend when he was attacked on Friday night by a young man, and then allegedly followed them before the police were called. He says it's clear the man who attacked us was wound up and sent into battle by the rhetoric. Yeah, again, he has none of this anyway. But yeah, he doesn't have much information on this. But I wanted to bring this up because I do think, like, in all seriousness, like I said, like, he should not be in that role. I think he's going to do a terrible. I think he's not a right person for that job, because I think he's too stupid, and he's not exactly made himself many friends as the council leader so far. All he's done is cause aggravation, is from what I've heard from people within there as well. So it's not a very ideal spot for him. Off the record, George needs to get a new hairstyle. It looks like a Mormon in a deep state USA. Yeah, it's one of the posh hairstyles, I think, is what it is, Jao, if I'm honest there. The thing is, it's like, here's the thing, like, he can easily be making that up, and I'm not saying he's making it up, but the fact is, if he had bruises or something, or if there was video footage or something, that would help his case. But it's very hard for, he's just making a claim out there and putting it to the Daily Mail. But where's the evidence for this? Like, this is the thing. Like, it's very hard to take that in, But again, like, if you have, like, just don't go out chanting racist, fascist, and whatnot, because again, it's not going to solve any issues, guys. It really is not going to stop any issues. So this next one is also from The Independent. Sticking with reform for a little bit longer, guys. Don't worry, we're going to switch gears soon. I just find this headline incredibly funny. So, Reform Council leader has vowed to lie in front of bulldozers to stop Ed Miliband's net zero project. Reform UK has been vocal about its opposition to the net zero plans. So let me read more context into this, guys. So the leader of Reform UK-led council has vowed to lie in front of bulldozers to stop Ed Miliband's net zero projects in the area. Several nationally significant infrastructure projects are planned for Lincolnshire, including solar panels and a corridor of pylons between Grimsby and Walpole in Newark. Reform UK has been vocal about its opposition to net zero plans, which have been backed by the Energy Secretary Ed Miliband. And while local councils do not have the power to stop such projects, Sean Matthews, the leader of Lincolnshire County Council, has promised to take drastic action to stop them going ahead in the area. Ed Miliband is hell-bent on destroying Lincolnshire with his energy developments, but I'm going to put my Wellington boots on and lie in front of his bulldozers, he told the Telegraph. This is bollocks. He wouldn't do this. He doesn't have first of all, he doesn't have the balls to do it. That's the first thing. Secondly, that he has no power to stop this. And thirdly, this needs to be done. Again, I've already talked about the transition and we need to go to green energy, but this is like, did Boris Johnson say he was going to step in front of bulldozers or something about the third runway at Heathrow Airport or something like that? How far did that go? You know, I really don't buy in that. I want a better environment for my grandchildren. Well, then you should be helping the tractors and the bulldozers get to where they need to. Then he added, "I don't know what Ed Miliband has got against Lincolnshire, but he seems determined to turn it from a beautiful rural country to an industrial wasteland and pylons of electrical factories." This is coming from a council that had oil as plowing oil in its area as well. You know, I wouldn't like. It's really over the top language here. It's heartbreaking about a quarter of England's infrastructure and energy developments are being planned for Lincolnshire. It really strikes me that Ed Miliband is hell-bent on ruining our county. Mr. Matthews, a former member of the Met Police elite Armed Royal Protection Squad, that while this opposition to net zero is genuine, he also acknowledges that it was a vote winner. So acknowledges this. Okay. Earlier this year, Mr. Matthews joined Reform UK's Deputy Leader Richard Tyson at a press conference in Lincolnshire where he was starting a renewables war against Mr. Miliband. We're basically going on a renewables war against Mr. Miliband and his merry band of fellows as the eco-zealous. Mr. Tyson also wrote to energy companies urging them not to invest in the latest round of green energy contracts. We spoke about this before. I've already said that this is really, really dangerous rhetoric to try and stop them from green energy companies from investing and working in the UK. And if reform comes into power, that's really bad because a lot of those contracts that the government will have already signed with green companies could get basically tossed up in the air. So a lot of taxpayer money is going to get thrown away just on that alone, never mind the kind of damage that Reform UK would be when they are in power. The Department of Energy, Security and Net Zero said all projects are subject to rigorous planning processes and the views of the local community must be taken into account. We're making our decisions. Our children and grandparents depend on us to make. Families have seen their energy bills go through the roof due to our reliance on violent gas markets controlled by dictators like Putin. Yes, this is true. Solar and upgraded grid is central to our mission to become a clean energy superpower, delivering energy seriously to get bills down for goods. Green groups have also warned that reform should start thinking seriously about how to tackle climate change in the UK, and there is no getting away from the need to develop UK's energy system. A recent poll found more than half of Reform UK voters approve of their pensions being invested in green energy, despite the party launching a renewables war. And this is the thing, a lot of Reform UK supporters are for green energy, green emissions and whatnot, so rather than being against it as well. And this basically goes against those voters, but a lot of them are just so hell-bent and ideologues about what's happening with the immigration that they're blind to the damage that could be coming to them, unfortunately. There. Good evening, Scott. Hope you are doing well. He can talking about something else. Stephen Banker says they can put solar on my roof tomorrow if they want. Well, my dad put solar panels on his roof many years ago, and it's paid off. His only regret was not getting a battery sooner, unfortunately. But he did get a battery. He has got a battery now, but at the time he didn't get a battery straight away there. A 19-year-old with that kind of responsibility in the first place just doesn't work for me. Yeah, I generally believe that. Like, even if you're the smartest kid, like you have to be, you know, like it's just not ideal. Just not ideal. It's a lot of responsibility. A lot of responsibility for a young man. You know, as well. It's just not ideal at all. Do you want to enact a full-size wind farm in my backyard? I'm game. Yeah, I can, like, here's the thing, like, I know you probably wouldn't mind it, Pete, but, you know, for some people, I can understand why they would not want it right in their backyard. Me, personally, I just want more wind farms built out on the sea. Like, I personally think they should be built. We should have more built out on the sea. We've got the spot. You know, we're a goddamn island. Like, there's plenty of spots out in the ocean for us to build them. You know, and we should be maximizing that. We should be using the sea more. And for me, like, that's where I think we could be building a lot more wind farms there. One of the ideas that really sticks in my mind about, you know, increasing our green energy is all the new car parks that we have, all the airports that have giant car parks. All of them should be converted into solar panels. Like, all of them have roofs on top, and you put solar panels on top. It's something that I've seen that's happened a lot in France. I remember All Short sharing that many while back. That's something that should be done here. Like, that's the one we can generate lots and lots of energy from. That's just one simple idea where we can generate energy there. And it could also save, and it also creates, because a lot of that money, they could also make money in the same time as well. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, we're going to take a short break here. We've got a couple more stories to go here here as well. We're going to be looking at the cover up over the China spy trial, as well as talk about digital IDs and an interesting story from Middle Eastern Eye on a pro-Israeli group as well. But before we get to those stories, guys, I want to share this funny video here. If you ever need to know how to call in sick, guys, just follow Foil and Arms and Hogs, and they will direct you exactly what you need to do. Take it away, guys. Show them how it's done.
Morning.
You alright?
No, I don't feel great today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm calling in sick.
What? No, hang on.
What?
Okay.
I just noticed the speed was way too fast. Sorry about that.
Morning.
You alright?
No, I don't feel great today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm calling in sick.
What? No, hang on.
What?
Okay,
What are you-
What are you going to say, man? You need a plan to call in sick.
I'm gonna say I'm sick.
Can't say I'm sick. No one's going to believe that.
It's the truth.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's the truth. Genuinely sick people, they don't get the day off because the fakers have raised the bar. They're just hamming it up all the time. If you want the day off, you have to pretend like you're dying.
But that's ridiculous.
It's not.
I'm not lying.
Okay, fine, yeah. Do it your way,
Yeah, I
Okay,
will.
Here
Thank
you go.
you.
It's ringing.
What?
It's a local supermarket. Call in sick, do it your way. Go.
Hello?
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 Yes, hello. I won't be coming into work today. I'm sick.
Well, you don't sound sick.
Well, I'm genuinely sick.
You better get your arse in here now.
But I'm sick!
Who is this?
It's Gerald, and you sound like a horrible man. Oh, God, I hope there's not an actual Gerald who works
Can we
there.
just do it my way?
Yeah, okay, fine.
All right, now remember, you have to sound like you're dying.
Hello?
Hello?
Gerald?
It's Gerald.
Everything okay?
No, I don't feel well.
What's wrong?
I'm dying.
What?
Well, I'm not dying. I mean, what I mean is I'm not feeling very well.
Oh,
Very,
okay.
very horrific. Oh, it's
that's
terrible.
awful.
There's diarrhea everywhere.
Oh.
There's vomiting from my mouth. There's blood everywhere.
Blood?
Not everywhere, just
You gotta go to the
in
hospital.
someplace internally, mostly. Or
I really think you should go to the hospital, Jerry.
possibly a nosebleed.
Right.
I think tests might be advisable. I think they're getting tests.
Sure.
There's no tests at the moment, but they're saying they may need tests.
Well, if there's anything we can do.
Well, I just want to say I'm really sorry,
For what?
but I won't be able to come in today because I'm sick.
Oh, of course not. That's no problem. It's only choir practice.
Oh, thank you so
Get the
much.
text next time.
Choir practice.
Yeah, we're doing Les Mis.
That's it, guys. If you ever want to get out of choir practice, take it from Foil and Arms, guys. That's how you get out of it. Yeah. Count Kev, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Offer people unused army housing at Peppercorn Rent if renters invest in the property and guarantee long tenures on them, says Scott there. They won't give renters permission to put solar in there with their own finances, the Steam banker. Wave power, get migrants on pedalos. Yes, pedal to the metal. Get them on the pedal. That's a good idea. Yeah, could do that. We could do that indeed. Let me make sure if I got the right. Oh, excuse me. My stomach's really playing up at the moment. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's because I'm not eating. Maybe it's because I'm not eating as much food as I have been on holiday. Maybe that's the reason why, guys. Just a quick reminder before we carry on. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. I do want to get to 2,500 subscribers. We have been sitting still on subscriber count for quite a while. So if you guys want to support the work that I do, please consider subscribing to the channel. Really does appreciate it. And if you want to help financially support me in the work that I do here, and I greatly appreciate it, you can. Oh, I'm going to need the headsets in a moment. You can do so by leaving super chats and helping me get to today's super chat goal. Minimum £2 if you can support, please do. If you can't, it's no problem at all. But if you, in a non-financial way, obviously you can do those things. But if you can, and do consider becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, gets you early access to additional content, which some of you guys already have access to because you're members. So thank you guys all for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Just wanted to get those cheap plugs in because, you know, got to do that stuff, guys. Need more development into geothermal energy, says One Angry Pagan. Well, we could always cover that this Thursday. Myself and One Angry Pagan will be together for the Eco Flake show. So if you can join us for that, you're more than welcome to do so. Now, the government's been accused of a cover-up over the collapse of the China spy trial. It is expected that ministers will have to answer questions about the case today as the parliament returns from recess. Now, unfortunately, I don't have footage from the parliament itself, but I do want to showcase this video piece here on it to give us a better understanding of the whole ordeal here. So we're going to listen to this piece from Sky News on it, guys, with regards to this.
These are the two men at the heart of a spy case causing a rift between Downing Street and the White House. Former parliamentary researcher Chris Cash and academic Chris Berry were charged with spying for China. They denied the charges. Last month, that case was dropped, allegedly after the Crown Prosecution Service met with officials, including National Security Advisor Jonathan Powell, seen here on the far right. The government has repeatedly confirmed no ministers were involved in the decision and now say that includes Powell himself.
Yes, I can give that assurance. We're very disappointed that the CPS were not able to take forward the prosecution. I think it's worth pointing out that this case dates back to 2023, so decisions that were taken were on the basis of legislation in force at the time and the implications that had for the CPS's ability to take the case forward.
That intervention comes with President Trump reportedly becoming concerned about the UK's security reliability after the charges were dropped. And it's a claim challenged almost immediately by the opposition.
There are plenty of disclosures about various meetings that he was involved in, including with other senior civil servants, the permanent secretary of the Foreign Office, basically trying to rewrite the narrative around China, saying that they're not a threat, they're a challenge, and that there were meetings basically within government not to provide critical information that should have been provided to the Crown Prosecution Service to enable that trial to proceed.
China called the charges pure fabrication. It's the latest challenge for the government posed by Beijing. There are concerns about the apparent ease with which the Chinese have been able to access the top rungs of British power and society. This is accused spy Yang Tengbo, photographed not just with Prince Andrew, but also seen with former Tory Prime Ministers Theresa May and David Cameron.
This is a delicate diplomatic balancing act, with the UK finding itself once again jammed in the middle of two of the world's biggest trading superpowers, China and the United States. But one security expert has told Sky News that China's repeated attempts to interfere in the affairs of Britain cannot go unchallenged forever.
We'll see an awful lot more Chinese spy cases going to court. And again, we'll see occasions where there's no evidence provided, and that is to protect the intelligence sources that have given the evidence to get something to court, to get it out into the public domain. They will disrupt the operation. But at some stage, you can only do so many disrupt operations before you actually need to come down hard on someone and send a very clear message.
Pressure is certainly increasing on the government to explain why these recent cases collapsed. But this is as much about prosperity as it is about security. The Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, needs to keep China on side as a key trading partner if her ambitions to grow the economy are to be realised.
I do think that does play a factor into this whole cover-up as well. And remember, this was back in 2023 when the Conservatives were in power. So Priti Patel talking about this, like, she can shut up as far as I'm concerned. I think, yeah, the Conservatives are just as compromised on this as well. I do think this is down to. I think there may have been. We don't know what's been said behind closed doors. Well, what we do know is that there is definitely there does feel like there's some kind of cover up here. And my feeling is that there is a cover up here to try and appeal to China in some way, shape or forms to help the UK grow its economy. And that's what I'm worried about here. We keep hearing the story as well about the China having a bigger embassy in the UK. I still don't know why the hell China needs a bigger embassy. Like, I really honestly don't understand the context behind the deal about why they even need a bigger embassy or any way, shape or form, or what's wrong with the one they have now right now. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm getting reflux at the moment. But this all stinks. It really does stink a lot. And the thing is, I don't want to I don't want to go too much aggressive on China, even though we should be cautious of them, because of course we know that they have a strong relationship with Russia as well, who obviously with the war in Ukraine. But there's definitely something here. And the fact that the case dropped in the way it did, you know, does raise a lot of questions. So it'll be interesting. I don't think I'll get a chance to look at it today, but it'll be interesting over the next couple of days to have a look and see what was said in Parliament, how the government have approached this in Parliament with response to the questions. The Conservatives will obviously bang on about this. I expect the Conservatives to talk about this as well on Prime Minister's questions if it happens this Wednesday. I'm assuming it's going to happen this Wednesday, but it'll be very interesting to say the least there. David Gerardo, happy birthday to you, buddy. Hope you are doing well. Good to see you there. And Ellie, good to see you there as well. Hope you are doing well, and anybody else lurking in the chats. So if there's anything more to add that we haven't already read here, really the video kind of gave it all that we needed to add here. Liberal Democrats calling on the government to hold an inquiry into the collapse of the case. Yeah, I think there should be an inquiry, but they're not going to do that. Party's foreign affairs person said the case had exposed appalling gaps in the government's ability and willingness to challenge China's espionage efforts. Yeah. This is what I'm thinking. Yeah, our intelligence service be, you know, could our intelligence, like, I wonder if the intelligence service behind the scenes have been screaming to the government to saying, hey, you need to do something here. It does raise, I do wonder what the British intelligence services, MI6 and others are thinking of this as well, because obviously we don't have all the full context as well. I think it's a sympathetic for an extremely messy geopolitical situation. I think there's a lot of complications about this that we don't know. I think it's the best way to describe it as well. I think that's definitely, that seems to be the case there. There's certainly a cause for concern, that is for sure. This is not something I've been reading too much on myself today, but I just wanted to kind of play that video to get our kind of thoughts on it. We may be talking about this again in the future, guys. I will not be surprised. Something that I definitely do want to get tear my hair out on is this story here. So the government is to consult on digital IDs for 13-year-olds. So the government will consult on whether children aged between 13 and 16-year-olds should be included in the rollout of planned digital IDs. The proposed UK-wide scheme will be introduced by 2029 and available to all UK citizens and legal residents, but only mandatory in order to work. There's been a backlash to the scheme, with a petition attracting nearly 3 million signatories. On Friday, the Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper defended the plan, telling LBC lots of 13-year-olds already have digital IDs that is standardising the process would help. The spokesperson said the government needs to consult on including children as young as 13, since many were already working part-time. As we announced, there will be a legal requirement for employers to check someone's digital ID as part of the right to work checks, the government spokesperson added. Children can work part-time from the age of 14. Some local council areas, this is from the age of 13. So, look, I get the government's position. This is not about immigration, or to try to perceive to control immigration, because that was originally, when this came out as with the such of, okay, we can show that we can be just as ruthless and just as tough as reform. We're going to introduce digital ID, as opposed to try and basically crack down on people who are in the work job places, saying, if you don't have a digital ID, you can't work. Well, here's the thing, right? There's lots of people in the black market in England, in other parts of the UK, where they are already working, where it's just a simple case of cash in hand. And guess what? This does nothing to stop people working illegally in the black markets, because there is, unless you take away cash from the UK, which you can't do, yeah, with there's no way we can do that. We're not ready for a cashless society. I know I've heard my dad say that a couple of times, saying we should go cashless, which I think is absolutely bonkers, by the way. Unless we go a cashless society, you can't stop people working in the black market. You can't stop illegal working. And digital ID is not going to stop that. It's not going to stop that whatsoever. Furthermore, who is running the digital ID platform? Because unless it's being run by the state, if we're running it by, I don't know, let's say Plataneer, you know, the same fuckers who are running our NHS, who are in control of our NHS data, you want them to be in control of our identity as well. Like, am I the only one that doesn't, like, of course I'm not the only one, but I just think this is absolutely insane. I think this is absolutely insane. If we were copying a model from Europe, and perhaps if the tension wasn't all about immigration, perhaps maybe there would be a different feeling about this. But the timing of this, and the fact, again, this is another policy from the Labour government that was not spoken about whatsoever in their manifesto. It wasn't in their manifesto. This was something that was brought up back under Tony Blair, which never got pushed through in the end. And at the time, back then, you know, I said I didn't have too much of a problem with it at that point. But this, for me, this sounds more about controlling people than actually protecting workers' rights and ensuring that people have all the correct information they need to work. This feels to me more about control, because what are you going to be asking of people when it comes to this digital ID? Where is all this information? If it's all going to be digital, where is our information being stored? Who's holding that information? How much of that personal information are we already giving? Which we don't already give enough as well to other things as well. It just screams like there is something incredibly dodgy about all this. The timing of all this just sounds wrong to me. Lots of 13 UK petitions opposing the IDs warn the scheme could lead to mass surveillance and digital control. And this is it. This is what I'm afraid of if we go forward with this. However, some civil liberty campaign group Big Brother Watch branded the scheme Orwellian and urged MPs to reject the plans. Prospect of enrolling even children into this spiralling biometric ID system is sinister, unjustified, and prompted the chilling question of just what Starmer's government is thinking the digital ID will be useful in the future. Exactly. At a time when parents are critical of the view of whether children should have smartphones, it is shocking that the government is considering enrolling children into a digital ID app. Yeah. Liberal Democrats said the consultation on offering digital ID to 13-year-olds showing they've been right to warn about mission creep. It is frankly sinister, unnecessary, and a step towards a state overreach, said the party's science and technology spokesperson. During a trip to India this week, Sir Keir Starmer praised their country's far more extensive Alia digital ID system, which includes biometric data, as a massive success. Well, I don't know how their digital system is in India, so I can't comment on it. He suggested similar technology could be used in the UK banking and public services. Downing Street later clarified his comments, stating the UK scheme would not necessarily replicate India's biometric model and would be run by the public sector. Okay. But who's holding the data? Again, other countries already have digital IDs, including Estonia, Denmark, Spain, as well as Canada and Japan. European Union is introducing digital ID, ID wallet, which all member states will be required to roll out to citizens by the end of 2026. Digital ID seems also being piloted in non-EU countries, Norway, Iceland, and Ukraine. It just sounds very, like, the timing of all this just doesn't sound right. I'm not comfortable with this at all. Like, the timing of this all just feels wrong. At a time when people are already untrustworthy of governments out there, when we have so much like a trust in government is at an all-time low, and this is just the wrong time to do this. This is the wrong time to do this. I know some people may argue that there is an argument case that we should have some kind of ID on us at all times, sort of thing, to help us identify who we are. I can see the logic in that, but I just don't trust this government in particular. Considering that this is the same government that wanted to take away benefits for disability people. Like, it's very hard for me to say, I can't sit here and tell you guys I trust Labour with this stuff. I don't. I just can't. Some of their policies are just so un-Labour. I can't trust them with it. Like, if this came from the Greens, I'd still be hesitant, but I'd be a lot more comfortable with them, because at least they would be flat out honest with me. Labour have not been honest with us. which is why I struggle to take this on board as good face value and the benefits of digital ID, because I don't trust them. I don't trust them. That's the problem that I have here, guys. Platinum anywhere F. Yeah, that's just the screams that company. For me, they feel like the ones who are going to be getting their hands on this data. That's what it looks like to me. I'm so terrified of them. They already have held in our NHS data. I'm terrified of them having control of that, of our digital ID as well. Like, it's just terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. The UK needs laws before they can apply the system. How many billions will in Westminster will waste this ID? The government would be holding the data. Platinum apparently ruled themselves out, which I find curious. They've ruled themselves out, Platinum. Interesting. Thanks for that. I wasn't aware of that. Didn't see that comment straight away. Starmer should copy the system around here and just be honest about it, but he should also copy the laws. I don't know what the issue is. The issue is here is something works, we adapt it to our reality. The issue is that we don't trust our government, Jal, whereas a lot of governments in Europe are a lot more trustworthy. We don't trust our governments here in the UK because there's too many bullshitters. That's the God's honest truth. There's so many bullshitters. So it's hard for us. It's hard for us to take it on board as face value. Like, literally, like, if you were to ask me a month or 6 months ago or a year ago before this came up, I would have been more inclined to it. But because of policies that have been coming out, some of the policies that Labour have introduced, I don't trust them. I just don't trust Labour to do this. You know, like I said, I'd be more inclined if Labour were to, if Greens were in try. It's about trust, and you like, and if you do most polls, like, how much do you trust government or politicians? It's a record low here in the UK, or specifically here in England, in Westminster. People don't trust politicians. Too many lie. Too many are corrupt. Too many are in it for themselves. Many people feel that their lives are not getting better. How can you trust them with digital ID, for fuck's sake? You just can't. And that's the way, you know, it's so realistic. Okay, it's not perfect in Europe. Like, a lot of countries are not having perfect relationships with their government either. But it's a hell of a lot better. Like, if they were told that during the pandemic to do something, they would bloody do it. I mean, we didn't all want to agree with the UK government at the time during the pandemic, but they at least, there was a lot more understanding. Many Brits know we were lied to about Brexit, and the EU trust is very low. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, again, look what happened during the pandemic. You know, what really hurt the British public more than anything, I think, for the one thing that I feel that really disdained trust with the public more than anything, wasn't even Brexit. It was when the Conservative Party had parties during the pandemic. The pandemic, when literally people were dying all over the world, including in the UK. And they were partying. They were partying. Like, how fucking low could you get there? Like, it's one thing to lie. It's one thing for taxpayer money to get wasted. But when we're talking about people's lives, while they couldn't say goodbye to their loved ones, and they partied, that really stings. That really stings. That doesn't just turn you off politics, it turns you off all governments. It makes you want nothing to do with politics, with governments, with political figures in any way, shape or form when shit like that happens. Again, I don't blame people for feeling that way in any way, shape or form. We need politicians to start being more honest. As for whether this digital ID, I think they should scrap it. I think they should scrap it. I think they should shelve the plan, and restore trust in politics. Then start talking about this, because right now you don't have the trust of the public. And all you're doing is fueling the fire from people on the left and people on the right about this. That's what they're doing. Shame that you see the UK this way. Unfortunately, that is the case. So this last story I've got for you guys is from Middle East Eye here. The text is going to be a bit small because of the way the way their website is. But You'll see the headline here. So a pro-Israeli group gets £7 million from the UK government to identify anti-Semitism. The Union of Jewish Students describes itself as the voice of Jewish students is linked to a pro-settler organisation. Now, we know that there are groups like Labour's Friends of Israel and other groups that have links to the Labour government. We're not stupid. We know that Israel has links to a lot of political, parties and politicians in particular. We know Israel has influences. We know that. But one that is possibly linked to a pro-settler organisation, at a time when they were saying that they were clamping down on pro-settlers in the West Bank, you know, all that talk from David Lammy kind of feels like a load of word salad again, doesn't it? Good evening, Daily Blase. Hope you are doing well. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Daily Blase's YouTube channel. I think I did pop in for a little bit on your live stream on Friday. Bear in mind, I did just come back from a holiday. But I hope you are doing well, my friend. So let's have a read into this story, guys. So the British government is giving £7 million funding package to a pro-Israel organisation to deliver anti-Semitism training in universities. In universities as well. The Union of Jewish Students, the UJS, has links with the World Zionist Organization, which funds illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. So under the scheme, the UJS will offer some 600 training sessions to university staff over the coming weeks to help them identify harassment and hate and facilitate open, respectful debate, the Department of Education has said on Sunday. DfE warned earlier this week that universities could face action if they do not protect Jewish students from harassment. So my first question is, well, what about Muslims? Like, is there going to be action faced if Muslim students get harassed? Why are we only talking about Israelis? Again, like I spoke about this muslim I've spoken about this on Rumble, and I've got videos dropping every day on Rumble this week, Monday to Friday. Why are we not talking again about Muslims here? Again, like, we are taking one side of the spectrum here, but we're not talking about others. And yes, that £7 million is taxpayer-funded money as well, guys. So most British universities refer to the IHRA's definition of anti-Semitism, which has been slammed by opponents as an attempt to impose censorship on valid criticisms of Israel. Yeah. The British government's announcement was in response to student protests against the genocide in Gaza on the 2-year anniversary of the October 7th attack. Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the planned student protest was un-British and lacked respect for others, which he can go fuck himself because, you know, people have a right to protest as far as I'm concerned. The DfE said universities should ban repeated protests are intrusive or disruptive. Again, like, freedom of speech, right to protest, again, respectfully, go fuck yourself. The UJS describes itself as the voice of Jewish students, spanning over 75 Jewish societies at universities in the UK and Ireland. They has drawn criticism for its pro-Israeli advocacy, an Al Jazeera documentary in 2017 revealed. But the UJS have received funding from the Israeli embassy in London. In 2021, the then JUS president was filmed telling Israeli President Isaac Herzog that the UJS Illuminati are currently serving in senior positions in the Israeli government, the foreign ministry, the IDF, Israeli military, and even the president's office. The organization is a member of the World Union of Jewish Students, which is partnered with the Israeli Foreign Ministry and the World Zionist Organization, which funds illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank. What a surprise. The UJS says it passionately engaged with Israel's interfaith and social action projects and offers its students opportunities to strengthen, celebrate, and explore a personal relationship with Israel as part of its evolved expression of Jewish identity. The Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson is expected to meet this week with university leaders. Oh, what timing! The Office of Students, the Police and Faith Communities as part of a drive to ensure universities take appropriate and effective actions to keep all students safe and supported. Has she met with the Muslim communities at all? Has she met with any other faiths out there? Just out of curiosity, have we covered that at all? No? Oh, I didn't think so. New measures come against the backdrop of both anti-Semitic attacks and the wider crackdown on anti-Israeli protests in the UK. Earlier, the Home Secretary Shabina Mahmood announced the fresh protest restrictions in the wake of the deadly attack on the synagogue in Manchester that killed 2. New restrictions would enable police to consider the common impact on frequent protests on local areas and require demonstrators change the location of a planned protest. They have been widely criticised for authoritarianism, including by Jewish pro-Palestinian activists. People need to stop confusing Israel with Jews. Jews can be citizens of any country. Israel is Zionism. Yeah, that confusion is consistently happening a lot. But this is once again Israel sinking its teeth and its claws into the British government. And we knew that they were sinking their teeth into it, or long ago as well. I don't think any of us should be surprised by this story. But we already knew that there was influence in Labour already. For me, I've already said this already about what's happened. Like, I've said this enough times, but I'm so happy that the guns have stopped firing, the bombs have stopped dropping, that Palestinians get to live another day. That they don't have that they have a bit of hope. But I don't trust for 1 second Tony Blair running the institute to run it possibly. I don't trust Donald Trump 1 second. I don't trust the Israeli government. I certainly don't trust Netanyahu in any way, shape or form. I don't trust any of them. Israel doesn't even like the English Labour Party. It baffles me that they make so much effort to assure them. No, it's all about influence. Influence and power. So it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. It doesn't surprise me whatsoever that behind the scenes that they try to influence them. It doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't matter who comes to power. They will try to influence them, or they will try one or two things. Yeah, they will either try to influence them, or they will try and smear them, as they did with Jeremy Corbyn. And if they can't influence them, they're going to smear them as much as they possibly can. And that's what they're going to try and do. This is why Israel has been set aside in everything here, including simple cultural events related to Jewish communities here. Even the Portuguese Jews want nothing to do with them, says Jow. It's a real shame that lots and lots of Jews across the world have been suffering the wrath of anti-Semitism because of what Israel's actions have done. And the worst thing about it is there's going to be no repercussions for Israel. No repercussions for them. Like they should be severely punished. Like literally, they should be cut off from the world like Russia have been. Their country should be like everyone should just immediately stop training with them. Like literally cut off all oxygen for them, and the country should be forced to suffer, and its people should be forced an overthrow of that government. Like generally, they should be forced to suffer because of the suffering they gave to the Palestinian people for the last 2 years. They should do, but I don't think they will. Bibi Mussolini will carry on. Yeah, he will carry on somehow. Yeah, I don't like. They will find a way. They'll find a way, unfortunately. So, guys, I do apologise if my voice has not been up today. I don't know. Maybe it's because I've done quite a lot of videos today. Maybe it's just me, but I do apologise. But I do have just a reminder. I have recorded videos for Rumble. I've not recorded any additional videos on the channel yet. I may still do. I may do some tomorrow possibly. But I still have some Patreon videos I need to finish as well on there. But before we go, guys, I do have one more video for you guys. I'm not going to do Discord chat tonight. I'm just because of my voice. And obviously right now with the situation with my Facebook, right now, like I said, I'm not mentally there right now, and I just want an answer from them as to what's happening with my accounts with them. So yeah, right now things have not been it's not been very, very good. But apart from that, I hope you guys really do find today's live stream interesting and informative in some way, shape, or form. So I do appreciate you guys all being here. I hope you guys enjoyed this funny video on our way out here from Garen. Apparently, Christmas has already been ruined. Already has been ruined. We haven't even gotten past Halloween, and already Christmas has been ruined. Explain yourself to us, Garen. Why has Christmas been ruined?
M&S, what the fuck is this? The price of their Christmas food. £150 for a fucking frozen turkey.
Okay, to be fair, £150 does sound like bollocks to me.
£195 for a little fucking taste of beef Wellington. Serve 6. That's 32 fucking 50 per person. I wouldn't wish that cost per head.
That is also fucking bollocks as well, I'm just going to say.
On my worst fucking enemy on Christmas Day. And we all know serve 6 means serves 2 of me. Beef Wellington by Tom. Who the fuck is Tom? Was he touched by the hand of fucking God? Tom better not just be some random cunt who makes a nice beef Wellington. This would want to have healing properties. It better cleanse me of all my fucking worries. Look, it doesn't even say buy. It says book a fucking slot.
£165, Jesus Christ.
We've gotten to the point where the common man is considered so fucking worthless he's to let his food know he's going to buy it. Hello, I'd like to book an appointment with my beef Wellington, please. Who the fuck do you think you are? Follow me. I'm delicious.
He's delicious. The food is fucking bollocks. You know, those prices is just absolutely insane. Seriously, absolutely insane. Oh, those prices are really inflated. Hell yeah, they are. Jesus Christ, 165. Like, come on. Like, who am I serving the royal family or something? Like, bloody hell, sausage with mustard is my favourite. I'm not a fan of mustard myself personally. I'm really not a fan of mustard. But you know, everybody's different, aren't they? Say, oh, I cannot do English mustard. Something about it, says Scott. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Scott. I'm afraid I'm not a mustard person myself. The UN's been unable to act according to US veto, so nations should act with their own conscience and blacklist the nation for a while. Says person impersonator. They should do. Good to see their person. Yeah, they should do, but the problem is that there's only so much that they can do. The problem is that as long as as long as the US are in Israel's pocket, it's very difficult for them to do a lot, unfortunately. Christmas spam yet again. Yeah, it's not even Halloween yet. It's not even Halloween yet. Ridiculous, I know. So guys, I want to say a massive thank you to all coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. No super chats tonight, but I really appreciate you guys all being here. Just a quick reminder, I'll be live again tomorrow at 11 AM for another Good Morning show. So if you guys can join me for that, feel free to do so. I'll also be back with another global news tomorrow at 6 PM, the quietest live stream of the week. So if you want to join the quiet live stream, because I like to call it the quiet one because there's so few people there, feel free to come and join me at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. And then on Wednesday, we'll have another Good Morning show, followed by the watch along as well. So if you guys want to join me for them, feel free to do so as well. And this Thursday, myself and One Angry Pagan with another Eco Flake show. The following week, myself and Graham Price of Power to the People will be on the round table. Still have 2 more guests. Who will be joining us? Well, I guess you guys will have to find out a bit closer to the time. But yeah, thank you guys for coming along. Hope you have a great week, whatever you guys are doing. There'll be no Discord chat tonight, I'm afraid. But if you guys want to hop onto the Discord chat and have a chat among yourselves, you're more than welcome to do so. But before I go, it's just one last thing to say that if you haven't already, hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Help me get to 2,500 subscribers if you can do. Check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content as well. And do consider becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. So thank you all so much for watching. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.